Well, this week's Monday meditation, as we continue to read through Galatians, we're going to read Galatians chapter 1, verses 11 through 24. And this is very autobiographical from the Apostle Paul. This is early in his ministry, and he's going to recount how God called him into ministry. And I'm going to focus in on a couple of verses there, but I trust there'll be an encouragement to you as you begin your week. So once again, Galatians chapter 1, verses 11 through 24. For I would have you know, brothers, that the gospel that was preached by me is not man's gospel. For I did not receive it from any man, nor was I taught it, but I received it through a revelation of Jesus Christ. For you have heard of my former life in Judaism, how I persecuted the church of God violently and tried to destroy it. And I was advancing in Judaism beyond many of my own age among my people, so extremely zealous was I for the traditions of my fathers. But when he who had set me apart before I was born, and who called me by his grace, was pleased to reveal his Son to me, in order that I might preach him among the Gentiles, I did not immediately consult with anyone. Nor did I go up to Jerusalem to those who were apostles before me. But I went away into Arabia and returned again to Damascus. Then after 3 years, I went up to Jerusalem to visit Cephas and remained with him 15 days. But I saw none of the other apostles except James, the Lord's brother. And what I am writing to you before God, I do not lie. Then I went into the regions of Syria and Cilicia, and I was still unknown in person to the churches of Judea that are in Christ. They only were hearing it said, he who used to persecute us is now preaching the faith he once tried to destroy, and they glorified God because of me. The wonderful thing about these verses that we've just read is the Apostle Paul, he tells us what he once was, and then he tells us what he now is. And this was really all the church early on said. They didn't understand, but they said, he used to be the one persecuting us, and now he's the one preaching. Paul, there's a couple powerful verses in this section that I just want to draw your attention to quickly. And it's verses 15 and 16. Paul makes it clear that God had set him apart before he was born to do what he was doing. And that God, in his grace, decided when he was going to call Paul. God is sovereignly in control of this entire ordeal. Paul wasn't seeking after the Lord. Paul wasn't looking for God. Paul was on his way to Damascus to arrest more Christians, and then God, in his sovereign time, showed up and called Paul. And so what that tells all of us is that God's timing is not our timing. God's plan is not our plan. And we really have to yield to that. So often, I know in my own life, I want to be in control, and I want to be able to plan whatever it is that I feel like needs to be done. And more often than not, I need to lean into God's sovereignty in these things and just trusting him. In Paul's case, this was a sudden change. Paul's on his road to Damascus, and God just shows up. And maybe that's happened in your life. You were going one direction, and God showed up and moved you in another direction. And when that happens, we rejoice. And we just should find a great deal of comfort in that. And so I just thought that was amazing as I read those autobiographical verses that Paul just makes it clear. I wasn't looking for God, and God just came and called me and put me on a new path, and we should rejoice in that. Well, again, thank you for listening to our Monday meditations, and I trust it's an encouragement to you. Have a great week. God bless.